I heard players talking about that they don't want to come to the Bengals, but this is where I want to be. Are they losing? Well, I'm going to do everything I can to change everything around. Cincinnati has selected wide receiver from Oregon State University, Chad Johnson. Cincinnati has selected wide receiver from Oregon State University, Chad Johnson. Johnson finished 2003, setting a new Bengals single-season franchise record for receiving yards, the first of 3 times Johnson would break it during his career. Over the next 2 years, Johnson's game improved, and so did his knack for coming up with new ways to get under his opponent's skin, and it should. It's still a record he holds to this day. But then again, Chad is the Bengals' all-time leader in pretty much every receiving category. Fast forward to Week 12 against the Titans. Please, Chad. Please, Chad. Please. Bad move. Was this stunt a little silly? Yes. Was it a little disrespectful? Maybe. Head coach Marvin Lewis. What did you think of the move? What? What does that say? Future Hall of Fame? Now, if you think the pony stunt was a bit braggadocious, brace yourself, because Oko took it to the next level in Week 1 of the 07 season. So how do you celebrate such an accomplishment if you're Chad Johnson? You celebrate by racing a thoroughbred racehorse, and Johnson beat the horse by 12 lengths. Sure, Johnson was given a 100-yard head start in a 200-yard race, but we can't let facts get in the way of fun, right? From now on, anybody that writes about whatever I say today, you call me Ochocinco. Do not say Chad. It all started innocently enough. As part of the NFL celebration of Spanish Heritage Month, Johnson began referring to himself by the supposed Spanish translation of his jersey number, Ochocinco. He tried to speak a lot of Spanish, and he was always wrong when he tried to put it into a sentence. So Ocho just kind of made sense, because Ochocinco wasn't the correct Spanish translation of 85. But Google Translate was only 6 months old at the time, so Chad and everybody else just went with it. But there was more. On Christmas Eve, Santa Oko followed up a 41-yard touchdown by pulling out a Santa bag and tossing gifts into the stands. Despite Johnson putting the fun back into the no-fun league, an early playoff loss to Pittsburgh, plus an injury-plagued start to the 06 season, left Johnson convinced he needed a change to get out of his rut. But cover list or no cover list, it was clear no one could cover Chad Johnson. 85 will always be open. I'm always telling him, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Chad Johnson knew how to get under his opponent's skin. Once, he sent a care package of Pepto-Bismol to the entire Browns secondary, suggesting they'd be sick to their stomachs trying to cover 85 in their upcoming game. People thought that was a ploy. It wasn't. Chad was a showman that way, and he needed that. Then in 05, he created his famous Who Covered 85 in 05 list, which featured the names of opposing team star DBs next to a space for Chad to mark if they successfully covered him or not. He was checking them off week to week. Coach Lewis wasn't a fan of that one. Chad Oko was known to talk. This dude was the only player, the only receiver, to ever talk trash to me during a route. We're going to help you then. A team that hadn't delivered their fans a winning season for over a decade. The Bengals continued to struggle during Chad's first 2 seasons. But 85's commitment and love for the game could not waver. Johnson was selected 36th overall in the 2001 draft by the Cincinnati Bengals. Y'all talking about me? Nonetheless, with Coach Collins' help, Johnson quickly shed the turd moniker and became a key contributor to the team. But even though Johnson was excelling on the field, issues in the classroom persisted, making him academically ineligible to play in the 98 season. However, with guidance from Coach Collins and his tell-it-like-it-is approach, Chad got his grades up and stepped his game up. After 3 years of junior college, he transferred to Oregon State, leading the Beavers to an 11-1 record in a season that saw Johnson catching everything, including the attention of NFL scouts. Let's go. His name is permanently velcroed into NFL history. Between the gold teeth, gold hair, and gold jacket, Chad Johnson was the gold standard for NFL receivers in the 2000s. But how good was number 85, or Ochocinco, actually?